probateexpert.com. And I'm here interviewing superstar real estate agent, broker associate to be precise, and colleague and good friend, Taunee English. So say hi, Taunee.
Hi.
And specifically, the area that Taunee really is an expert in, I want to talk about today is on trusts, which is part of the probate industry, but a part that she really has gone deeper on and done some great things on, and also how she gets involved as a fiduciary and how that business works. So we're really excited to have you, Taunee.
Thank you, Bill. I'm so honored to be here with Mr. Probate Expert yourself.
So tell us a little about you, background. Where were you? Where were you born? Go to school? How did you get here into real estate?
Okay, I try to make it short. I am a LA native. I was raised in the Valley, so I'm a Valley girl, but I did move to the West Side a few years ago. I'm a U.S. Navy veteran.
Thanks for your service.
Thank you, sir. And I used to run a CPA firm. And while we're in a CPA firm, I realized that we were telling our clients to invest in real estate. And, because we always feel that we all know that real estate is a foundation of wealth. So that's how I got into real estate, is basically telling our clients to invest in it, buy property to house their businesses, use it to fund their pension plans and things like that.
Right. Well, great. And so here you are. And so you've been a real estate agent / broker, participant, salesperson for how long?
Close to 15 years.
Wow. So you started when you were 8 years old. Fantastic. So how did you get specifically into the trust and fiduciary piece of real estate?
Because I still do. I have a business management trust administration business. So I administrate trusts and with my clients. And so our whole thing is to, help our clients avoid probate and everything. And so my thing is, I got this from one of my estate planning attorneys that says that probate is like filing a lawsuit against yourself and your heirs. So
hold on one second. You got to say it. I see this line all the time, but I botch it. But it's so beautiful. Say it one more time. Probate is what?
Probate is like filing a civil lawsuit against yourself and your heirs. I got that from Rosie. She's a state attorney out here in Beverly Hills.
Wow. So you want to avoid probate, and one way to do that is with living trusts.
Yes, sir. Not a will. People keep forgetting that. They think a will in California is enough to avoid probate. It is not.
So if I have a house, I have a property, I want to avoid probate, the will's not going to do a trust will. What do? I call Taunee. What do you do? How do you help me avoid probate, or how do you help me with a trust?
I will refer you to at least 3 good estate planning attorneys so that they can draw up a trust for you.
Nice. And what does that do then? How does that protect me?
Well, a trust protects you from probate, which is one thing, but also trust is good too if you you have a business and or you get sued. I mean, trust is its own entity, so it actually adds another layer of protection against lawsuits. Especially if you have a business or you get in a car accident, that's a whole separate entity that's protecting your assets.
Right. And then these days, I think another advantage of a living trust is that at that time, people tend to take care of the other medical issues, medical directives, so that God forbid there's a problem, you can ahead of time determine what you want done or how you want it done or who should make those decisions. Do you ever get involved in those phone calls?
I do. Yes, I do. I tell people, when they're asking about estate planning, and I say I'm not an attorney, but what I have learned is that sometimes, especially, a conservatorship, et cetera, sometimes the person you trust with your financials may not be the same person you trust with your health. And so you really want to make sure identify that. And also I tell them the reason why you want to trust is because what I see with probate is you have siblings, all the old sibling rivalry and jealousy comes up. And it becomes, to a point like one of the probate I'm dealing with right now, they're going to almost lose the property because they argue so much, whereas a trust would avoid that. It would have laid out who gets what and how much they get.
I'm a almost lifelong Angelino. I spent 2 years away from LA, but otherwise my whole life I've been within a 25-mile radius of the USC campus. And having spent the last few years in probate court almost daily until COVID, it's heartbreaking to watch family legacy wealth being dismembered in probate court on a daily basis. Do you ever it just seems to me that it would just magically turn around the entire city if we could get every homeowner in LA to fill out a trust document so they could avoid probate. Am I exaggerating that, or is that your experience?
You're not exaggerating. I tell people that with probate, the first, the attorneys get the money. That money, because it's a mandatory fee, as you know, and that probate attorneys get. And then if you can't agree, then they will have someone like me, a personal representative, a professional person representative that gets paid the same amount as a probate attorney to
Right.
step in. So
Right.
now you have the money going to a PR,
Right.
a attorney, and
Right.
it could take 9 months plus. Plus, everyone knows your business.
Right.
When you can avoid that by just getting a trust that can cost you as little as $1,500, whereas
Right.
probate is like 4 times that much.
I think the filing fee is like $374, and the advertisement is like $900. So for $1,200, I don't know about you, but I could get a cheap flight to Hawaii and spend a couple of days in a hotel rather than open probate.
Yeah, and then don't forget with probate, your creditors, actually also have first digs too before your heirs get the money.
Right.
So everyone gets a piece of that before you do. Whereas in the trust, things could be sold within 30 to 60 days, like a normal sale, and as everything's kept private, and everyone knows what they're getting. There's no guessing games that you would have with probate.
So talk to me a little bit about the fiduciary business, where you act as the fiduciary or the representative for an estate. What does that look like? Why would I hire you to do that, and how do you create value for a family by doing that?
Okay, so that one is a professional fiduciary license that you get with the California. It's a California license it's new, by the way. And that license is more about conservatorship, which I don't do, but you have conservatorship, you have trust administration, you also have probate that you can be called in to be a personal representative when you have someone who's either a person doesn't have a family member or someone to do that, or like I have right now, 2 families that's fighting and they need a third party to be the middle person.
Right.
So that comes in hand, especially when we talk about closing out an estate, probate, or trust. Someone with my background, which I have accounting background, a business management background, I know how to identify the assets of an estate and, how to track things down so we can close the estate out for probate or a trust.
Right.
So with my background, I could, identify, get it done.
Right.
Whereas a person who doesn't have a financial background, it stresses them out to try to figure out where their family members have all their money and real estate and insurance, and especially when they're grieving too and they don't have that business management accounting background, it could be overwhelming.
Well, it seems to me that if I was either an attorney, representing an estate, or if I was in the state that had a trust to administer, getting you as a realtor kind of brings in your eyes as an accountant as well, almost for free to look at things, at least to glance at them and see if things look right. They're kind of getting a whole multifaceted tool for the price of one, it would seem to me.
Kind of. It really depends.
Okay. Tell me a little bit. I know you're very involved with the Board of Realtors, the recently renamed Greater Los Angeles Area Association of Realtors. I'm a member. What's your role there? What do you do there? Tell us about that.
Well, I'm treasurer for 2021 and treasurer for 2022. And I'm also the regional chair for the Beverly Hills district, or region, as we call it, for the greater LA, because we have 5 regions. So next year we'll be rolling out this brand new different regions where we have like a mini president of it. So I would be the one for Beverly Hills.
Oh, wow. Well, first, congratulations. And as a member, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
So tell me, what drives you to, I've seen you participate in this for a while. What drives you to participate in, well, before I go there, you're also involved with the Women's Council, right?
Yes, I'm the president of the Los Angeles Beverly Hills Women's Council this year. Yes.
Wow. And you've been involved with them for a while as well.
I have.
So you've been, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm also state director for the California Association of Realtors. And yeah, I'm just passionate about advocating for property owners' rights. And I'm passionate about education, especially real estate education. So that's why I tend to stay involved in the state and the local level. And next year I'll be on the national level too.
Wow. Well, again, as a member of the CAR, California Association of Realtors, thank you for your service and helping us. And good luck with the national representation, and glad to have you in good hands. So, but a lot of this, I mean, I know you well enough to know that a lot of this is really you helping our colleagues in our industry improve our professional standards. So tell me about what you see as a vision for, as a result of your involvement, what you'd like to create in our industry or in our business.
I think I've always said, like, my tagline is an educated realtor. So I believe the more education a realtor has, the better they can serve the community.
Wow.
I was one of the co-creators of NER's approved code of ethics, which is called the Real Estate Court, the People's Court for Agents. So it was an interactive, entertaining way of realtors getting their ethics training by reacting all the bad things realtors can do. And
ouch.
don't do
all
it.
of them?
Not all of them, but and so I do really believe that, especially what happened with Zillow and things like that, we need, the consumers or the public needs to have more confidence in us that we are, not just about the commission, but we really are truly property owners' right advocates. So that's pretty much what my overall passion or goal regarding real estate, besides helping people create financial stability or security with real estate.
Now, you've been in the business a while and you've achieved, some great successes. And like everybody, some days you win, some days you lose, but you've accumulated this great body of work that we're proud of. But as you know, there are a lot of new realtors coming in the market. There are a lot of realtors struggling with COVID to adjust their business. What do you recommend to an agent who wants to do more business, wants to be more service? What would you recommend them to do as an activity to help them build their business and be of value to the marketplace?
I would tell them to, go through your database and, before you go through your database, but then check title. Go to our, MLS and check title and see if your clients have their home in a trust or not. Because if they don't have their home in a trust, this is the perfect time to give them a call and tell them about how they can protect their family's, future by putting into a trust. And that way you come across as a trusted real estate advisor, right? And secondly, you can also ask them, what about their parents? Because more often than not, the parents may pass away before they do. And you can ask, what is their address, and look them up and see if they have it in a trust. If they don't, say, hey, let me connect you with a couple of estate planning attorneys or even one, and let's, really protect, avoid the liability, the civil liability of, going through probate, and really explain to them how probate is, it really is not necessary, to do if you, do some estate planning and put it into a trust.
I mean, there'll always be people who litigate. There'll be a small percentage of that total. But if every realtor called everybody they knew who didn't have a trust and suggested they talk to a professional about getting it into a living trust, how would that transform our business? How would that transform our community? Think about that. I fantasize about that. My wife was one of the earlier people to get the COVID vaccination. And so where she went was there's this huge church in South LA, like Vermont and 80th Street. I'm sure you know the name of it. I forget the name of it. It's like a huge community. It's not even a church. It's a thing. It's huge. Where Pepperdine University used to be. And I thought to myself, I thought to myself, what if instead of lining up cars like we did, waiting for my wife to get the vaccination, they take your paperwork and then you go to the next spot in your car and they vaccinate you, and then you next spot and you wait. What if you drove up and they had a standard living trust boilerplate? What if we just rewrote everybody in LA one day? Could that happen? How would that transform the community? That's my particular fantasy, to recreate that scene, but to protect wealth instead of just the vaccination. What would it do if every realtor called their clients? What could they do for their business?
Well, one, I think that it would definitely raise our profile of being a trusted real estate advisor. I think that's one. Secondly, I think it would just morale-wise. I mean, when your loved one passed away, and the unsureness of having probate, not knowing what's happening and all of that stuff, it's just unnecessary added stress. So if they had it in a trust, you kind of help relieve some of that grief, and stress. You don't need that when they're grieving about their loved ones. So, and if you happen to be the realtor in that, and this is another thing I forgot to add, what a realtor can do also is have them written into the trust, by the way. So this is perfectly, especially when you're a buyer's agent, when you're helping that client buy their first home or buy a home, what I tend to do is get myself written into the trust,
Nice.
because who else knows that home better than you do?
Correct.
You know, you help them find it, you help them negotiate the price, you help them through all the inspections and everything. So wouldn't you be the perfect person to help them sell the home later on? And don't forget, they don't necessarily have to pass away. Is if, you know,
Right.
when they're ready to sell that home, you are their realtor.
Right.
So by helping them get a trust, you're also creating yourself future accounts receivable. Because I'm sure, as you know, you're the numbers guy too. It's that statistic shows that there is a low percentage of us that sell the home later on. When,
Right.
you know, the home that we get that particular client into, they tend to go for whoever's farming that neighborhood.
Correct.
So this is another way for realtors to ensure that they sell that home for their clients. You
You know,
know, so that's actually the best time to also pitch trust is, you know, this, now you finally got, this is one of the most important investments you have made, you know, so get a trust so you can protect that and get yourself written in there.
you know, you say this, and if you really break it down, it's really so simple, right? All you're saying is call people that know you, like you, and trust you, and encourage them to take an important step to protect their asset.
Mhm.
And yet, if every agent obviously hasn't done that, and if they all did that, the impact would make. So, I think it's one of those messages we have to hear regularly and be reminded of. And it sometimes takes some courage to make those phone calls. So I really appreciate you sharing that. And I, you know, I as a member of the local association and state as well, I appreciate having an advocate for you like you at the front of this, realizing it's not just about, you know, us selling another house. It's really about us protecting our clients' assets and being a trusted advisor with them rather than just, you know, talking about carpet and linoleum and such. So thank you. Look, I know I've taken a bit of your time today. I really appreciate having you. So if somebody wanted more Taunee English, where would they find you? How would they get in touch with you? Or do you speak regularly? Where would somebody be able to get more of you?
Well, thank you for that. I'm at www.asktaunee.com, ASKTAUNEE.com.
I like that.
Yeah, Ask Taunee.
There you go.
That's where you can find me. And that's my handler on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Ask Taunee.
I like that. Well, I call you. I don't ask you. I call you to ask you. I don't go to your website. But it's a treat. Look, I've really enjoyed working with you. It's been a treat as a friend, as a colleague. I think as a practitioner who also wants to raise the highest standards of our industry. I try to do it in my business daily, and I know you do it on behalf of all of us real estate agents in the area, or all of us realtors, to use the proper terminology, with you of all people, sorry, of all us realtors, with a little copyright mark next to it, in the area, that you really are raising the standards both in our association and statewide and soon to be national. So on behalf of all of us members, I want to thank you, Taunee, for raising our standards, and on behalf of the community, I want to thank you for helping raise education and awareness of this important area of trusts. And again, if you have any questions, go to asktaunee.com or see her on social media. She's all over the place. So Taunee, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me. This has been great.